Have you ever met someone who seems to just explode into a room, taking charge and refusing to back down? Someone who is bold, brash, and fiercely independent? Chances are, you're dealing with an Aries. But here's the thing, while they might seem like an unstoppable force of nature, Aries can be a lot to handle. Whether you've been overwhelmed by their energy, their blunt honesty, or their intense need to lead, you're not alone. Today, we're going to dive deep into the reasons why Aries can be such a challenge to deal with, but also how understanding them can actually lead to personal growth, for both you and the Aries in your life. In this video, we'll explore 18 unique traits that make Aries one of the most fascinating yet challenging signs in the zodiac. From their fiery temper to their unwavering determination, we'll unpack why they act the way they do and how you can learn from their bold, fearless energy. But don't worry, this isn't just about Aries being difficult. There are valuable lessons to be learned from their confidence, leadership, and authenticity. So, whether you're an Aries yourself, you know one, or you're just curious to understand this fire sign better, stick around till the end. I promise you'll walk away with a deeper understanding, and maybe even a few tips on how to handle the Aries in your life. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and share it with your friends. Join the Zen Mind Peaceful Life family, where we talk about astrology, self-growth, and how to live a more peaceful, fulfilling life every day. The fire of Aries, a force you can't ignore. When you think of an Aries, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Chances are, you're picturing someone who bursts into a room, commanding attention with their electric energy. Aries has this natural, unstoppable force about them, a presence so strong that it almost feels like they could take on the world and win. But here's the thing, their bold, fearless energy doesn't just stand out, it can overwhelm. If you've ever tried to keep up with an Aries or get on their level, you might have found yourself breathless, wondering how they can move so fast, so confidently, and so unapologetically. This is where Aries' unfiltered honesty comes into play. It's not just that they speak their mind, they do so with such intensity that sometimes it feels like you've just been hit with a truth bomb. You'll never hear an Aries say, "I'll think about it," or "I'll just keep it to myself." No, they're straight to the point, whether it's something that needs to be said or not. This directness can catch people off guard, especially if you're someone who's used to a bit more tact. But for Aries, it's all about authenticity. They believe that if they're not speaking their truth, then what's the point of saying anything at all? It might sting at first, but there's a lot to learn here. And Aries will never leave you wondering where you stand with them. This kind of honesty can actually help cut through confusion and clear up misunderstandings, something that a lot of us could benefit from in our everyday relationships. The trick is in how you receive their words. Instead of taking it personally, try to view it as an invitation to engage in a deeper conversation. If you're an Aries watching this, consider softening your approach, especially with those who might not be as comfortable with your level of directness. But that doesn't mean you should lose your authenticity, just find a balance. For those of us who might not be Aries, embracing this boldness can be empowering. Maybe we should all be a little more direct, a little more true to ourselves, and watch how it affects the world around us. Now, if you think handling the honesty of an Aries is tough, buckle up. Let's talk about what happens when they get impatient. And when I say impatient, I mean extremely impatient. Aries doesn't have time for slow decisions or prolonged deliberation. They want things to happen now. It's not that they're reckless, they just don't want to waste a single moment. And this impatience isn't limited to big life decisions, it's in their daily interactions, too. Ever tried to finish a conversation with an Aries, only to have them jump ahead with the next point or push for results before you've even caught up? Yeah. They move fast, and they expect you to keep up. If you've ever found yourself struggling to get your thoughts out while an Aries is in the room, you're not alone. Their energy can make you feel like you're trying to catch a speeding train. But there's a flip side to this impulsive nature, it's not all bad. Their impatience can actually inspire action. Aries is the person who doesn't wait for the perfect moment, they create it. And that's something we all could learn from. So next time you're hesitant or overthinking a decision, ask yourself, what would an Aries do? What if you just made the move without waiting for all the details to line up? Sure, there's a risk in acting too quickly, but there's also a reward in breaking free from the paralysis of perfection. And then, of course, we come to one of the most defining traits of an Aries, their competitive spirit. Have you ever had an Aries challenge you, whether it's in a game, at work, or even in a casual conversation? Aries thrives on competition. They don't just want to win, they want to dominate. They live for the thrill of the chase, and nothing gets them more excited than a challenge that tests their strength, wit, or willpower. This competitive nature can sometimes be hard to handle, especially if you're someone who prefers harmony over rivalry. But, much like their impatience, it's important to see Aries' competitiveness for what it truly is, a driving force that pushes them and, by extension, the people around them, toward greatness. If you've ever felt like you were just a pawn in an Aries game, know this, their drive is not personal. It's about the challenge, the pursuit of excellence. Instead of seeing their competitive edge as a threat, try reframing it as an opportunity. Aries can teach you how to step up your own game and push past the limits you've set for yourself. Whether it's in work, fitness, or even just personal goals, you can use an Aries' relentless pursuit of success as fuel to fire up your own ambitions. And if you're an Aries yourself, take a moment to reflect on how your competitive spirit impacts those around you. Do you inspire them to push harder? Or do you overwhelm them? There's always a fine balance. But with all this boldness, there's a hidden vulnerability beneath the surface. Aries may be fierce, but they're also incredibly loyal. When they commit to something, or someone, they go all in. The same fire that drives them to charge forward also fuels their unwavering dedication. And while this loyalty is one of Aries' most admirable traits, it's not always easy to navigate. If you've ever had an Aries as a partner, friend, or colleague, you know that they are fully invested in the relationship. They want to make things work, even if it means confronting difficult issues head-on. But that fiery loyalty also means they don't always back down easily. So when things go wrong, expect a storm. Aries won't just sweep things under the rug, they'll fight for what they believe in, even if it means some tough conversations along the way. If you're in a relationship with an Aries, understanding their loyalty can give you insight into how to handle disagreements. Aries doesn't hold grudges for long, but they're passionate when they're hurt. That intensity can feel overwhelming, but it's rooted in their desire for deep, authentic connections. For Aries, fighting for a relationship is a form of love, not a sign of aggression. And for those of us who aren't Aries, learning from their approach to loyalty can help us strengthen our own relationships. Sometimes, it's about showing up fully, without hesitation, and being willing to confront the tough moments together. And if you're wondering how you can handle all this intensity, how you can navigate the whirlwind that is Aries, just remember this, Aries is all about action. They're not going to sit around waiting for things to happen. They'll make them happen. And if you can embrace that same proactive, go-getter attitude in your own life, you'll find that the energy of Aries isn't something to fear, it's something to channel. Stay tuned, because in the next part of the video, we'll dive deeper into how you can harness the fiery energy of Aries to unlock your own potential. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. The unstoppable Aries, impulsiveness and leadership combined. When it comes to Aries, their impulsiveness is almost legendary. If you've ever witnessed an Aries take a leap without hesitation, you'll know exactly what I mean. Imagine this, you're sitting with a friend, and out of nowhere, they're signing up for a marathon, planning a road trip, or deciding to start a business, all in a matter of minutes. You're still processing the idea while Aries is already planning their next move. For many, this can be unnerving. After all, we've all been taught to weigh our options, make a pros and cons list, and think things through before making a big decision. But for Aries, that's not how they operate. Their instinct is to act first and figure it out later. This quality can be both thrilling and overwhelming at the same time. It's like being caught in the slipstream of their energy, whether you're ready for it or not. But here's the catch: impulsivity isn't always a bad thing. If you're someone who tends to overthink every move, watching Aries leap into action can be a lesson in letting go of perfectionism. In a world where people hesitate and second-guess themselves, Aries teaches us how to trust our instincts and take action before the moment passes. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but stepping out of your comfort zone, even if it's a little impulsively, can lead to some of the most rewarding experiences of your life. If you're in a relationship with an Aries, this trait can be a bit tricky to handle, especially if you're someone who likes to take things slow. But the key is understanding that Aries' impulsiveness comes from a place of passion and excitement. They're not acting without thinking, they're simply driven by a powerful sense of urgency. Rather than feeling frustrated, try embracing the spontaneity they bring into your life. Plan something adventurous together, even if it's unplanned. You might find that stepping into the unknown with Aries will not only bring you closer but help you break free from any self-imposed limitations you might have. This impulse to act without waiting for the perfect moment ties directly into their leadership qualities. Aries doesn't sit around waiting for someone else to take charge. If something needs to be done, they'll step up and do it, no questions asked. They're born leaders, not because they demand respect, but because they naturally take charge in any situation. Being around an Aries can make you feel like you're constantly playing catch-up. They don't ask for permission, they just do. Whether in work or social settings, Aries leads the way with an energy that others can't help but follow. But leadership for Aries isn't just about being in charge, it's about inspiring others to rise to the occasion. That's where their competitive nature plays a key role. They push others not because they want to outshine them, but because they truly believe that everyone has untapped potential just waiting to be unleashed. If you're trying to handle an Aries in your life, this is the trait to really appreciate. Instead of seeing their leadership as something domineering, recognize that it's an opportunity for you to step up. Aries pushes you to be the best version of yourself, to take risks, and to embrace challenges. It's not always easy to keep up with someone who's constantly moving forward, but it's an invaluable lesson in growth. It's also important to note that while Aries is a leader, their desire to be independent can sometimes clash with others' need for connection or collaboration. They want to make their own decisions, and they want to do it on their own terms. This sense of independence can be empowering, but it can also make Aries seem a bit distant or closed off at times. They're not rejecting others, they just don't want to rely on anyone to get things done. If you're looking to deepen your connection with an Aries, try giving them space to lead while also offering support when needed. Understand that they thrive on independence, but that doesn't mean they don't appreciate the people around them. You just have to meet them halfway, allowing them to take charge while showing that you're there when they need you. The competitive spirit, it's not just about winning. Now, let's talk about competition. For an Aries, life is one big game, and they're in it to win. Whether it's in their career, their social life, or even a casual game of cards, Aries always wants to be at the top. And that can be intimidating for people who aren't used to this level of intensity. But what's often misunderstood is that Aries isn't competitive to put others down. They're competitive because they believe that competing brings out the best in everyone. Aries is a natural motivator. They see competition not as a threat but as a way to push both themselves and others to be better. If you've ever had an Aries push you to take on a challenge or improve in some way, you might have felt like they were a little too intense. But the truth is, they're just trying to bring out your full potential. They genuinely believe that everyone is capable of greatness and that competition is the best way to achieve it. This is where Aries' drive comes in. They're not just competing for the sake of winning, they're competing because it fuels them, motivates them, and drives them towards success. If you're struggling to keep up with an Aries in a competitive situation, instead of feeling discouraged, take a moment to reflect. How can you use this energy to push yourself further? What would happen if you embraced Aries' spirit and aimed for greatness in your own life? For Aries themselves, there's a lesson in this as well. While your competitive nature is one of your greatest strengths, it can sometimes alienate others who don't share the same level of drive. Learning to step back and allow others to shine, not just competing to win, can help foster stronger, more collaborative relationships. True leadership is about inspiring others, not just beating them. The loyalty and fierceness in relationships. If there's one thing Aries knows, it's how to love fiercely. When they commit to someone, they go all in. Whether it's a romantic relationship, a friendship, or a work partnership, Aries is loyal to the core. But this loyalty comes with a catch: their fiery nature. If you're in a relationship with an Aries, be prepared for passion, intensity, and the occasional heated argument. Aries doesn't shy away from confrontation. They believe that working through tough moments makes a relationship stronger. Their loyalty can sometimes be overwhelming, especially if you're someone who values peace and calm. But underneath all that intensity, Aries is just showing you how much they care. They're not afraid to challenge you, to stand up for you, or to fight for what they believe in. And that kind of loyalty is something rare and precious. If you're navigating a relationship with an Aries, understand that their intensity doesn't mean they're trying to control you. It's just their way of showing how deeply they're invested. They want to see you succeed, and they want to grow alongside you. However, this passion can also lead to moments of tension, especially if you're not used to someone who expresses their emotions so openly. Learning to embrace Aries' directness in relationships can help you better understand their love language, and might even bring you closer together. On the other hand, Aries can also learn to balance their fiery passion with patience. Not everyone is comfortable with intense emotions, and sometimes taking a step back and allowing space for calm conversations can help prevent things from escalating unnecessarily. But at the heart of it all, Aries' loyalty is unwavering. They'll stand by your side no matter what, fighting for you and the bond you share. Why you can't handle an Aries, and why you should learn to. All of this comes back to one thing: Aries is too much. Too much energy, too much passion, too much drive, and yes, sometimes, too much honesty. But if you can learn to embrace the intensity that comes with an Aries, you'll find that they offer some of the most valuable lessons about growth, ambition, and living life to the fullest. For those who struggle with Aries' overwhelming nature, remember this: they're not trying to make your life harder. They're challenging you to step up, to rise to the occasion, and to be the best version of yourself. And that's something that everyone could benefit from, regardless of zodiac sign. So, the next time you feel like you can't handle an Aries, ask yourself, what are they teaching me? How can I channel their energy into my own life? By learning to embrace their strengths and respecting their boundaries, you can not only improve your relationship with Aries but also use their fiery, unstoppable nature as a model for living a more vibrant and driven life. Stay tuned for the next part of the video, where we'll explore how to bring balance to the fiery energy of Aries and make it work in every aspect of your life. The Aries journey: bold, unstoppable, and always evolving. Aries has a certain energy about them that's impossible to ignore. The moment they walk into a room, it's like everything else fades into the background. Whether you know them well or they're someone you've just met, you can't help but feel that electric charge in the air. It's as though their mere presence demands attention and action, a relentless drive that pushes both themselves and everyone around them. But the truth is, that intensity is a double-edged sword. While they are a force of nature, they can also be overwhelming, even for those who know them best. Take, for instance, the way Aries approaches life with a boldness that borders on reckless. Their impulsive decisions are often met with surprise, by their friends, their coworkers, and sometimes even by themselves. Imagine you're out with an Aries, and out of nowhere, they suggest packing up and moving to another city, or quitting their job to start a new project they've been dreaming about for a week. If you've ever felt like you were caught off guard by an Aries' sudden decisions, you're not alone. It can be frustrating when you're still processing their idea, and they've already made it a reality. But let's think about this for a moment. What if their impulsiveness wasn't just reckless? What if it was a lesson in pushing past our own doubts? Aries doesn't waste time waiting for the right moment. They believe in seizing opportunities and making things happen. Sure, sometimes it backfires, but there's no denying that their energy sparks change. This is a wake-up call for the overthinkers, the people who hesitate and second-guess every move. Aries reminds us that not every decision needs to be analyzed to death. Sometimes, it's enough to trust yourself and jump in. If you're with an Aries, embrace that spontaneity. It might feel risky, but it could also open doors you never thought possible. For those who aren't Aries, this boldness can be contagious. Give yourself permission to take a leap. And maybe, just maybe, you'll discover new parts of yourself you never knew existed. But as much as Aries thrives on spontaneity, there's another side to this story: their impatience. The thing about Aries is that they don't have the luxury of patience. If you've ever found yourself in a situation where you're trying to take your time to process something, and Aries is already rushing ahead, you'll know exactly what I mean. They're always ready to move forward, regardless of whether everyone else is on the same page. The fast-paced nature of an Aries can make you feel like you're constantly chasing them, trying to keep up with their energy, and it can be exhausting. Now, let's not forget, this impatience isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's a sign of Aries' desire to constantly evolve, to push boundaries, and to avoid stagnation. If Aries could, they'd move the world at lightning speed, and nothing would slow them down. But here's where the challenge lies for both Aries and the people around them: balance. Aries thrives on speed, but sometimes, that rush can cause them to overlook important details or miss opportunities for reflection. If you're dealing with an Aries, one of the most valuable things you can do is slow them down, without stifling their enthusiasm. Encourage them to take a step back every now and then. Aries may resist at first, but if you can show them that reflection leads to even greater victories, you'll find they start to appreciate a little patience in their own way. Now, while Aries' impatience can sometimes clash with others' slower pace, their natural sense of leadership is something that's impossible to ignore. If you've ever worked alongside an Aries, or seen them take charge in a social setting, you'll notice that they step up when everyone else is waiting for someone else to take the reins. Aries is always ready to lead, whether it's a big project or just a casual outing. There's a natural confidence that radiates from them, and people can't help but follow. It's not just that they tell others what to do, it's that they lead by example. They move quickly, decisively, and with a sense of purpose that others admire and want to emulate. But this leadership can sometimes come across as domineering, especially if you're someone who values collaboration and consensus building. Aries doesn't have time for endless discussions. They believe in making things happen now, and if you're not on board, they'll move ahead without you. If you're someone who likes to take your time to think things through, you might find Aries' my way or the highway approach a bit much. But here's the thing, Aries' leadership style can be incredibly inspiring, especially when you find yourself stuck in the weeds, unable to make a decision. They'll get you out of that place and push you forward, even if it feels uncomfortable. If you're ever in a group with an Aries, observe how they take charge and make decisions. Their energy is contagious, and you may find yourself being more decisive, more focused, and more action-oriented than ever before. If you're dealing with an Aries, try leaning into their decisiveness while offering your own perspective when necessary. They might surprise you with how open they can be when it comes to working with others, especially if they trust you. One of the most intriguing things about Aries is their competitive spirit. For them, life is a series of challenges to conquer, and there's no room for half-hearted efforts. If you've ever faced off against an Aries in a friendly competition, you know what it's like to feel the full force of their drive. Whether it's a game, a project, or even a simple debate, Aries is in it to win. But don't mistake their competitive nature for a desire to put others down. Aries competes not to defeat others, but to challenge themselves and push the limits of what they can achieve. At first glance, this might seem like a trait that's difficult to handle, especially if you're not someone who thrives on competition. But there's something incredibly motivating about Aries' unyielding drive. It forces you to ask yourself, am I doing enough? Could I be pushing myself harder? Aries doesn't settle for mediocrity. And neither should you. If you can get past the initial feeling of rivalry, you'll see that Aries' competitiveness can actually push you to reach your full potential. Take a moment to reflect on a time when an Aries motivated you to work harder or improve your skills. Whether it was a friendly competition or a high-pressure situation, you may have found that their competitive spirit helped you unlock your own inner strength. But it's not just about winning. Aries competes because they want to feel alive. There's a deep sense of satisfaction that comes from overcoming obstacles and proving to themselves that they can rise above any challenge. If you're looking to make the most of your interactions with Aries, embrace their competitive side. Don't shy away from challenges, step up to them with the same enthusiasm Aries brings. In the end, you might find that the competition isn't about defeating each other, but about growing together and pushing each other to be the best versions of yourselves. As much as Aries embodies leadership and competition, their fierce loyalty is often overlooked. You might think that someone so driven, so independent, would struggle with commitment. But the truth is, when Aries makes a commitment, they give their all. Their loyalty isn't just about being there when things are easy, it's about standing by your side through thick and thin. This can be seen in their relationships, whether romantic, familial, or professional. If you're close to an Aries, you know that they're fiercely protective of the people they love. They'll go to great lengths to fight for those they care about. And they expect the same in return. But here's the thing, Aries' loyalty doesn't come without intensity. When they're in a relationship, they give 100%, which means there's no room for complacency. They want to see growth, progress, and evolution in the relationship, and if they don't feel like they're moving forward together, things can get a little heated. If you're in a relationship with an Aries, expect passion, both the highs and the lows. Aries doesn't settle for good enough. They want the best, and they'll work hard to get it. This can sometimes mean confrontation, but it also means deep connection. If you're dealing with an Aries, whether in a romantic or professional capacity, be prepared for honesty, loyalty, and a little bit of fire. Understand that their intensity is a sign of their commitment to you and the relationship. Don't shy away from their challenges, embrace them, because ultimately, Aries will push you to become the best version of yourself. And their loyalty will ensure that they're right by your side as you do. The unseen strengths of Aries. It's easy to focus on the intensity of Aries' character, their drive, their impatience, their quick temper. But hidden beneath all of that is a depth of strength that few people truly understand. Aries doesn't shy away from conflict, but they also don't hold grudges. They deal with issues head-on, and once the storm has passed, they move on, ready to take on the next challenge. If you can handle the fire that comes with Aries, you'll also find that they have a remarkable ability to let go and start fresh. In the end, Aries offers something invaluable, a blueprint for living a life of purpose, intensity, and action. They're a reminder that life isn't about waiting for things to happen, it's about making them happen. Embrace that energy, take a cue from their fearless approach, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find that you too can live life with the same boldness and passion that makes Aries truly unforgettable. Embracing the Aries temperament, how to handle their quick anger. One of the most defining and often misunderstood traits of an Aries is their quick temper. Aries is ruled by Mars, the planet of aggression and action, which means they don't take kindly to obstacles, delays, or anything that stands in the way of their goals. When something or someone frustrates them, Aries can explode into anger, sometimes without warning. If you've ever been on the receiving end of an Aries fiery outburst, it can feel like being hit with a ton of bricks. But here's where things get interesting. While Aries may lash out in the heat of the moment, it's rarely personal. Their temper is often an immediate reaction to something that has irritated them. And once the moment passes, they typically cool off just as quickly as they got upset. This rapid-fire anger is something they can't help, it's ingrained in their nature. If you're someone who's sensitive to conflict or doesn't handle anger well, being around an Aries can feel intense. But understanding that Aries' anger is short-lived and rarely a reflection of how they feel long-term can help you navigate these moments. The key to managing Aries' temper is to recognize it for what it is, a momentary explosion. If you're in a relationship or friendship with an Aries, try not to take their outbursts too personally. Instead, give them the space they need to cool down. If you're the Aries in a relationship, learning to pause before reacting to frustration can help avoid unnecessary conflict. Practicing mindfulness or taking a few deep breaths in the heat of the moment can provide you with just enough time to redirect that energy towards something more productive. Aries' anger, like their passion, is powerful. Once they channel it in the right direction, they can accomplish amazing things. When you're dealing with Aries, whether it's during a heated argument or a difficult situation, the most important thing to remember is that their loyalty is unwavering. They're not angry at you, they're angry at the situation. Once things have cooled down, they'll likely be back to their usual self, driven, passionate, and loyal to a fault. Understanding this can help smooth over any tense moments and help you reconnect in a healthy, positive way. The Aries' need for independence, navigating the balance. Aries is known for its fierce independence. This is a sign that thrives on autonomy and the freedom to make their own decisions. For an Aries, being told what to do, or being restricted in any way, feels like a cage. They'll fight tooth and nail to maintain their independence, which is one of their most endearing qualities. They don't wait for permission, and they're always ready to forge their own path, no matter how unconventional it might be. But with this intense need for independence comes a challenge, especially for those close to an Aries. If you're someone who values closeness and togetherness, you might find it hard to handle an Aries who insists on doing things their own way. In relationships, this can be tricky. Aries doesn't necessarily want to be distant or unconnected, it's just that they can't thrive under the weight of restrictions. They need room to breathe, space to explore, and the freedom to chase their own goals. If you try to control or limit them, you'll quickly find that they'll resist at all costs. So, how can you make a relationship with an Aries work? It's all about balance. If you want to keep things harmonious, give Aries the freedom they crave while also showing them that you can be there when they need support. Aries doesn't want someone who will hold them back. They want someone who will stand by their side and encourage them as they chase their dreams. The best way to build a strong relationship with an Aries is by supporting their independence without feeling threatened by it. Celebrate their accomplishments, encourage their bold choices, and remind them that their independence doesn't mean they can't rely on you when needed. For Aries themselves, learning to soften their need for independence is key to maintaining lasting relationships. While it's important to be true to who you are, it's equally important to recognize that sometimes, being part of a team, whether in love, friendship, or work, requires compromise. You don't have to lose yourself in the process, but finding a way to stay connected while honoring your need for freedom can help you create deeper, more meaningful connections. The final secret, the unseen vulnerability of an Aries. As tough and unyielding as Aries might seem, there's a hidden vulnerability beneath the surface that most people never get to see. Aries, despite their fierce exterior, are deeply sensitive. Their boldness and strength are often a defense mechanism, a way to protect themselves from getting hurt. Because they are so driven, so focused on success and achievement, Aries sometimes hides their insecurities behind a wall of confidence. They don't like showing weakness, and they rarely allow others to see when they're struggling. But the truth is, Aries are human, and just like anyone else, they experience moments of doubt and fear. What makes Aries so resilient is their ability to quickly pick themselves up and charge forward, even after a setback. They don't wallow in self-pity or let failure define them. They move on, learn from their mistakes, and keep pushing toward their goals. This ability to bounce back quickly is one of their most admirable qualities. But it can also make it difficult for others to truly understand them. If you're close to an Aries, recognizing their vulnerability can help you connect with them on a deeper level. They don't need constant reassurance, but showing them empathy and understanding during tough times can help them feel safe enough to let their guard down. When Aries does open up, you'll see a side of them that's tender, thoughtful, and deeply caring. They just need to feel that they can trust you with their true selves. If you're an Aries, remember that showing vulnerability doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. Embracing your softer side can strengthen your relationships and allow others to see the depth of who you are beyond the fierce exterior. Bringing it all together, embracing the Aries energy. At the end of the day, Aries is a sign that thrives on action, passion, and independence. They bring a sense of urgency and excitement wherever they go, making them incredibly inspiring for those around them. While their fiery nature can be overwhelming at times, it's also a source of tremendous strength. Whether it's their bold honesty, competitive drive, or fierce loyalty, Aries teaches us how to be more courageous, more confident, and more authentic in our own lives. If you find yourself struggling with an Aries, whether in a relationship, at work, or in any other setting, remember that their intensity isn't personal. They're not trying to challenge you or put you down, they're just living life at full throttle. Instead of feeling drained by their energy, try to use it as motivation to push yourself beyond your own limits. Embrace the challenges they present, and let them inspire you to take more risks, be more assertive, and live more boldly. And if you're an Aries watching this, take a moment to reflect on how your energy affects those around you. While your drive and determination are invaluable, remember that relationships are a two-way street. Learning to temper your intensity and recognize the needs of others can help you build deeper, more fulfilling connections. Your strength is your greatest asset. Don't be afraid to share it, but also give yourself permission to be vulnerable when needed. Aries is a force of nature. And when you understand them, you realize that they're not just about the fire, they're about the lessons that come with it. Their boldness challenges us to be more fearless, more authentic, and more decisive in our own lives. So, whether you're an Aries or simply someone who has Aries energy in your life, don't shy away from it. Embrace it, learn from it, and let it inspire you to live a life that's as full of passion and action as an Aries would. If you've enjoyed this video and want to dive deeper into the world of astrology and personal growth, be sure to subscribe to Zen Mind Peaceful Life, like, and share this video with anyone who needs a little Aries inspiration in their life. Leave a comment below sharing your experiences with Aries, whether you're an Aries yourself or no one. I'd love to hear your stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.